I got a theory. Is the word Akata a mystery? Do we really know the history? I'm Nigerian, born in America. So this is 5 minutes with an Akata? Thank you so much, Moses, for joining me for 5 minutes with an Akata, question mark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, like I always do in every episode, I ask the infamous question, do you know about the word Akata?
No, actually. I've never, I don't really sort of like know the meaning. So.
Interesting. Okay, and can you enlighten us your ethnicity, where you're from, where you're like born and raised, and all that good jazz?
Yeah, no, of course. I was born in Tanzania, East Africa, essentially, and my dad is, was born in Congo, and my mom was born in Tanzania. So, I was raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and lived there for most of my life, and then I moved here to LA. So yeah.
Awesome. So you've never heard this word before. And the reason I'm asking that is because it's typically used amongst Nigerians, but there are other Africans that use it. And I think typically other West Africans, but I want to do my due diligence and just kind of reaching out to other people that can represent different countries on the continent, and share with us insight if they've heard this word. So that is why you're here. Can you also share with me, do you see a division between Africans and African Americans here in America? And if so, what's the one thing, I'm sure, there might be more than one, but what's one thing that you think is creating that division, if you think there is one?
It's a very tough question overall. But the one thing I think is understanding is us sort of like an understanding that overall that we automatically think we're completely sort of like a different, I guess, in a way. We move people from Africa move here and everything, and then African Americans think, okay, they're completely different from us, and we're completely different from, them, blah, 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 here and there. And I think that's the reason why they cause that sort of like a, division. And there's also a part to where, when you have a few, you might have a small circle or whatever of a group of people that are from Africa that come here to the U.S., they might think that they are a little bit better than, African Americans, and then it's the opposite too as well, where you have people that are born here that are African American that think they are better than Africans in general, and that's the one thing that I feel like that sort of like breaks us apart, and yeah, and I hope that overall in time that we definitely would sort of like need to sort of like get better and better understanding that we're, when we come here to the US, that you know, we're essentially just, we're basically the same.
What would you say is one thing that we do have in common? What's one thing that Africans and African Americans do have in common?
The one thing overall that I 100% know that we do have in common is, is culture, and yeah, and we have, there's so many other things we sort of have in common overall. Understanding that that when we walk, to a location or place, and it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're from Africa or you're born here in the United States and you're African American, we do have this idea of acknowledging that 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 we're still kind of the same here and there, and and yeah, when I moved here, to the U.S., I was, very much, amazed, with the African American culture, in general, and I was very much, my eyes were completely sort of like open, and I was sort of like in love, you know, and yeah, yeah. So
I
yeah,
love to hear that. Oh, that's so awesome. I love that response. I love that answer. That is a great answer. Thank you so much, Moses, for joining me for 5 minutes with an Akata question mark.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.